Good afternoon. Oh, still good morning. Tuesday, 16th of September, 2025. This is my second stream for the day. I'm going to try and keep this one short and sweet. Um, as we all know, Charlie Kirk was assassinated last week while giving a speech and having a debate at a college in Utah, outdoor venue. As you all know by reading the news, they've had um, one suspect in custody, the Tyler Robinson or something like that. His dad allegedly turned him in. Um, Everybody's getting deep in the weeds about the political motivation of him. Well, was he a Trump supporter and a right winger, and he shot Charlie Kirk because he wasn't conservative enough, or was he a leftist, Antifa, transgender type, and all that, who shot Charlie Kirk because he was too far to the right? Well, does it really matter that much what somebody's actual motivation was? And I've seen a couple of the videos. I've heard some of the conspiracy theories, and there's some good ones out there, I'll tell you that. I mean, I've heard from, oh, the Mossad took him out. Donald Trump took him out because he thought he could run for president in 2032 against somebody he would want. Uh, Another one is the Democrats took him out because he would be eligible to run for president in 2032. And he would, you know, I mean, imagine him in a debate. He'd be really good against any candidate of any party. He's not eligible. Well, he's deceased now, but he would not have been eligible to run in 2028. He wasn't old enough. Um, he was only 31 when he was murdered. And I got to say, he had a lot of wisdom for a man that age. Um, I'm 60 years old, I'm retired, and I'm a grandfather, so I'm far outside of Charlie Kirk's preferred demographic. But I enjoyed watching some of his videos on YouTube, and I noticed that a lot of people put up things that he said and they try and put it in a negative light, but they're taking it out of context. If you're not sure or you think he was sexist or whatever, listen to his watch him on YouTube when he engages with people. But anyway, we're chasing the breadcrumbs, we're going down rabbit holes. And I saw that video, and the shot was allegedly 146 meters, which with a 30-06, if you had a scope, that's it's not an easy shot to make, but you don't have to be, a Marine Corps sniper or a Navy SEAL or anything like that. When I was at Army basic training, I could hit, targets, not the size of somebody's neck, but I could hit a man-sized target at up to 300 meters with an AR-15 using iron sights, um, from prone position or from standing in a foxhole. I forget how they did it. I think we did both. I've been to the range a couple times in the military doing that, but nevertheless, it's not a easy shot to make, but it's not super difficult. He had a bolt action 30-06, which is a much, much bigger round than the puny 223 round that comes out of an AR or an M16. Um, but when you watch the video, it's like the exit wound comes out of the left side of his neck, and he falls to his left. But if that shot came from that distance, it seems like it would have pushed him back. Something with the angle didn't seem quite right, and I'm not going to put on a tinfoil hat yet, but that seemed kind of weird. And the guy behind him in the white shirt didn't get one drop of blood on him. At least doesn't look so in the video. And there was a guy there doing hand signals, and then he had managed to sneak that rifle up there, put it together, fire it, and then I'm assuming he disassembled it, climbed down, jumped down on the ground, ran into the woods, put the rifle back together, and left it there. That just doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't make sense. If you're going to make a getaway, um, make a getaway. And the video evidence of him in the area, I don't know if that's incriminating, but at least it puts him at this close to the scene of the crime. But could there have been accomplices in this? Did this guy have the wherewithal to pull it off himself? I don't know. Just makes you wonder. They said his partner was a man transitioning into a woman, which is really not possible because it's not going to make you a woman, but whatever. Um, and identified as a furry. I'm guessing that's somebody who thinks they're a dog or a cat. I don't know. I'm too old for this stuff. We didn't have any of this. When I was growing up, you had a guy here and there who might have been gay, or a girl who might have been a lesbian, and oh well, so what? Now there's all these different things added into the mix, and people with all kinds of mental illnesses and stuff. People hopped up on drugs. Um, that a lot of people trying to say, oh, the guy must have been a Republican because he was from Utah. Well, look how many people with conservative parents end up growing up to be, they go off to college and they turn into leftist radicals. And you also have kids raised by Democrat leftist parents who turn up, they get married, they get a job, they start paying taxes, they turn into conservatives pretty quickly. It happens. Um, I'm definitely more conservative than both of my parents, but I've got a strong libertarian streak in me too, that I don't think either of them had. But back then, nobody really knew what a libertarian was. So, but nevertheless, there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't add up. What's with those guys behind them doing hand signals like they're at a baseball game or something? I don't know. Um, you think back last year when that guy tried to shoot Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and they knocked that guy out and cremated him, and he just erased from history. So, you know, somebody bungled that. The problem is you get going down a rabbit hole on one thing, and then when something else happens, the first thing you do is question the narrative and wonder, well, are they lying to us? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out more information, but it doesn't, whatever the motivation was of the guy, whether he was a Goldwater Republican or a Bernie Sanders Democrat, it really doesn't matter. That was an assassination. Could this guy just be a patsy? I don't know. They obviously lied to us about the Kennedy assassination. They lied to us about, you know, Cuba with the Bay of Pigs. They lied to us about um, 9/11. They lied to us about Sandy Hook. They lied to us about the Parkland school shooting. They lied to us about Uvalde. Um, you know, they just, they lied to us about the situation in Iraq. So many of these things that happened, they lied to us about COVID. Remember how the narrative kept changing on that? Well, if you take the virus, you won't get it. If you take the vaccine, you won't get the virus. What? Okay. Will you still get it? Well, it'll lessen the effects. Oh, that turned out to be wrong. Oh, well, if you take it, you can't give it to anybody else. Well, that turned out to be false too. So I don't know. There's just, it's not like it's a conspiracy or anything, because three can keep a secret if two of them are dead. But there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't add up. And that's what fuels the narrative of the Alex Jones types, um, the what they used to call the old shortwave radio types. But, you know, just follow the breadcrumbs, see what they tell us. Um, is this guy, was he a lone operator? Did he go by himself? Did he have help? Did he get any funding from anybody? Sooner or later, people are going to start to talk. And, when they bring up the situation of Charlie Kirk, you'll hear people talking about Melissa Hortman. She was a legislator, a state legislator in Minnesota, and she and her husband were shot and killed. Um, but they were trying to make this guy sound like a Trump supporter, but he had all this left-wing stuff all over, stickers all over his car, no kings and all brochures and all that. So is it possible that they were taken out because she voted with the Republicans against a leftist Democrat Medicaid bill? She voted against extending benefits to illegal aliens, apparently. If somebody on the right knew that she had done that, why would they have tried to take her out? She probably voted, she was one of the only ones to vote with Republicans on that. And that's why she got taken out. But nevertheless, people really get bogged down worrying about the motive of somebody. Did you ever stop to think there are just some people who are really, really sick and you know, they do bad things? And then they were saying that, well, this is why we need an assault weapons ban. Well, a 30-06 wouldn't have been covered by that. That's a bolt action hunting rifle. And that's another thing. A 30-06 round, if you watch the video, which is very disturbing, that, it seems like it would have, that's for hunting elk. It seems like it would have done a lot more damage to somebody's body at that speed and that range than just like in one side of the neck and out the other. So there's a theory going around that there was a shooter off to his side with a handgun, but if that were true, other people around there would have seen it and heard it. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I just don't. But I'm just very skeptical of what I read online and what I see in the news, etc. Just do your bleh, do your due diligence, and just you know have your don't have your tinfoil hat on, but at least have it on the other side of the room so it's there if you need it. But just be skeptical. Doesn't mean be a denier. Just be skeptical. Take things at face value. As Ronald Reagan used to say, trust but verify. And sometimes right now it's hard to verify things, but we got to do what we got to do. But anyway, everybody have a good day. And if you were a Charlie Kirk supporter or fan, you have my deepest condolences. Like I said, I'm far outside of his target demographic, but I had to respect the guy. He was willing to step into a hostile environment, 1,000 different people around him, and he would say, "Come on up, let's have a discussion." And he held his own in an argument. He was pretty. Sometimes he could be a little snarky. I get that, but the guy was autodidactic. He taught himself a lot of stuff. He knew a lot more than many college graduates. And that really irritated those people too. Some of them were, they thought they were the best and brightest in society. And he put them on the bus and took them to school. And one of his quotes that will live on forever is that people need to talk. We need to speak with people who disagree with us. We need to have civil discourse, because when people start talking, they get violent, or people stop talking, they get violent. And that's what happened. Somebody, who knows, maybe this guy had debated Charlie Kirk at one time at another event, and Charlie made him look dumb, which with some of these college kids these days, that's not hard to do. But, it's a shame, but, this may be like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars movie. You strike him down, and you make him more powerful than ever before. And, as a father and a grandfather and a husband, I think about, now he's got a widow with 2 small children. Those children are never going to remember their father. And that's pretty sad. Whatever your political, whether you hated Charlie Kirk or not, that's really sad right there. I mean, that was a family man, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but, I talked to my son. My son's 27, and he knew who Charlie Kirk was. He really didn't follow him closely or anything, but he felt he felt really sad about it. That he said he's somebody who was very in touch with Gen Z. So anyway, that's about all there is today. I wish everybody a peaceful day. Just remember that the price of freedom is eternal vigilance.